Hello everybody, my name is Caroline David and I am a legislative assistant at the North Carolina General Assembly. Mallory and Victoria, thank you so much for having me and congratulations for putting this together. This is so amazing and I hate that I can't be there live, but I cannot wait to see you girls soon and hopefully have this event in person in the future because this would be really fun and very exciting and I think very helpful. I would like to start my story off back in 2012 when I was in high school. I graduated in 2012 from Apex High School in Apex, North Carolina. Go Cougs. And I was in an AP government class and there was a girl that I didn't really care for who was on the Democrat side, and she had written a bill that wanted to end testing on animals. And while in theory, like, sure, great, sounds amazing, but I did not like her. And so I was very petty and I stood up when she presented her bill and I asked if she would yield for a question. And because I'm a smart aleck, I said, well, if we can't test on animals, how will we know if rat poison works? Not my brightest moment, probably not my nicest moment, but definitely my most clever moment. And I was really proud of it. And I sat down and I actually ended up killing her bill, which was when I realized that my sass could also be used for good. That's not me taking a position on animal testing, but I'm just saying sass is effective. And so I started to get on Twitter a little in college, and I had this tweet that went really viral because, again, a smart aleck, and it was that Share a Coke campaign, and they had printed the name Obama. And I said, well, if I share this with Obama, he'll make me pass it around the room and give it to every person who didn't pay for it. Socialism, which, yes, that's part of sharing, but he would force me, which means it's not sharing, it's socialism on some level. And that tweet went super viral. Meme accounts were picking it up, and so I was kind of like getting roasted, but it was being shared so many times. I was like, people are not understanding that they're bashing socialism. So then I realized that dumbing things down and putting them in such a way that in layman's terms so that anyone can understand what I'm saying is really important. For instance, if we want to look at the pro-life movement, you do not need to go into a whole medical textbook argument. You do not need to go into a deep dive of theologians who were pro-life. What is effective, though, is, do you want to know I'm pro-life? Science. Why do I think that human life begins at, conception? Because my biology textbook in 6th grade told me so. Basic biology determined that. Things like that. Why am I for capitalism? Well, it's a free market enterprise has lowered prices on goods that, would be so much more expensive otherwise. Has the government ever created something that we use every single day that the free market hasn't made better? Do you really think that the US government could have created the iPhone? No. They can't even get a website for Obamacare to work, but you expect them to, create X, Y, and Z. You trust them with your health care, but you don't trust them with whatever else. It's just this whole paradox. And so being able to talk about these things and really dumb them down for people is something I find really interesting. And so I try and do it as much as I can on social media. For instance, if people don't understand a certain concept, you really dumb it down and then you take it to any social media. So right now on Instagram, those images, like illustrations with just a few words, are really popular. And I think that's really exciting because it's a great way to share important information that's nice looking and marketable, and get the message out there. I can't even explain. I have this shirt from the Empower Life company and it says human rights begin in the womb, and human life begins in the womb. And it's one of those two. Not a good time to not remember, but it's one of the two, and it's a really nifty design. And I get so many compliments on it, and I'm like, I wonder if these people know what they're actually complimenting. But those kind of designs are going to go far. So if you have like a really cool design, put it on a shirt. I don't care if you just wear it for yourself, put it on a shirt. If you buy something really cool, put it on social media, take a picture in it. If you go look on my Instagram, majority of my pictures are, I'm just a human billboard. not the most attractive, but she gets the job done. You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying. So taking things to social media does not mean that you rip people apart either. So for instance, I do not cuss at people on social media. When I argue with them, I do try to make them look dumb, but not because they are dumb, but what they're saying is dumb. So those kind of things are really important because you want to maintain this level of elegance and class to you. You definitely don't want to be out there known as like a potty mouth, foul mouth, or anything of that nature. Because that your reputation does precede you. If I had $1 for every single time a lobbyist came up to me at work and said, "Hey, you're that girl from Twitter," I would own the bank. And it's a really terrifying thing because I'm like, I have probably poo-pooed on one of the bills that you wanted to get passed. I have probably poo-pooed on you once before. I have probably poo-pooed on a member you gave money to. So things like that. So you got to be really, really careful. But at least I'm not known for being a potty mouth, foul-mouthed girl. I am simply known as the girl who's claps back on Twitter, which again, really nice. But it's also really important to know when to pick your battles. If someone is just name calling you, leave it alone. Don't give them the time of day. Don't waste your time, most importantly, because you're so much more valuable than whatever troll is hiding behind an anime character as their avatar. Let me tell you. Okay, they're probably in a basement or they're sitting in their little high school classroom not paying attention. Oh, I'm sorry, they're at home, so they're probably not paying attention on their virtual whatever and thinking that this is like the hot take of the century to call you, you know, any 4-letter word in the book, sometimes a 5-letter, sometimes many letters, but explicitives nonetheless. And if it had to be blurred on television, they were probably saying it. So don't give those people the time of day, but instead give time of day to people who think that they're stumping you. So people who are sitting there and saying, well, oh, if you're in, this is just a situation, if you are pro-life and pro-death penalty, personally, I am not. But if you are pro-life and pro-death penalty, then being like, well, what about this? What about this? You'd be like, okay, I am educated enough to school you, so I'm going to school you. So it's you know, difficult in some sense to know when to pick your battles, especially if you just want to fire off the mouth, especially if you know them. It's really important if you do know them to be extra kind because people hate when you're nice. Sounds like a shock, but people really cannot stand it when you're nice. And I think that's one of the most powerful things. And so one of the most nice things that people have said to me is after they meet me, they're like, dude, you were a savage on Twitter. Did not know you were going to be actually nice in person. Which is, thank you, but also like that kind of makes me sad because I'm not trying to be super mean. I'm just trying to, you know, set the record straight. And one of the other really important things, actually there's 2 more important things. One of those things is to keep them consistent with what they're saying. Don't let them get off subject. So if you're talking about, you know, let's talk capitalism versus socialism, and they're like, well, what about, you know, means of production? So you start getting them on means of production. You're like, oh, okay, so you want the government to own the means of production. That sounds really great. What have the means of production done, blah, blah, blah. And they're like, yeah, well, what about all the kids in China? No. You were talking about this. You cannot go there. We can talk about that in a minute, but I need you to answer my question, and kind of trap them. And then the other thing was that one of the most important pieces of advice I had ever been given / told was actually from Morton Blackwell from the Leadership Institute, which was don't fire all your ammo at once. So when you're having a conversation with someone, don't upfront tell them every single thing that they need to know and that you're going to attack them with. You give them a single piece of information and then you wait. It's a chess game. Verbal sparring is a chess game. So you're going to let them say something back to you and you're going to wait. Snake in the grass, that person. Just, you know how, you know what I mean? If you're old enough, you understand. But let them say something and you're like, okay, so because you said this, what about this? And or if they go another way, you're like, okay, well, we agree on this. What about this? You know what I mean? So just keep going off of them, but never ever be like, here's a reason, here's a list of the reasons why I'm pro-life. Ding, 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 ding. What about you? No. Have a conversation and be like, well, let's define the terms and then let's get into specifics. Using social media is one of the greatest ways to reach a mass public audience, and it can also be one of the most intimidating ways to reach people because your name will get put out there. I mean, if I search my Twitter handle in Google, I get thousands of hits because my tweets have been used in articles from, you know, Fox News to Twitchy to Teen Vogue to all of these different places my tweets have been used. And that's okay because I'm willing to back everything I say up with facts. So come armed with facts. Do not fire all of your ammo at once. And get active on social media. Do not be afraid. That being said, do not feel pressured to post your political stuff on social media, especially if your group of friends just aren't into it. Create another account, or don't worry about it, or just keep your activism to door knocking and wearing a t-shirt at school or something like that. But as long as you have your voice, even if it's not on social media, it's really, really important. So thank you so much for having me. Again, if you have any questions, feel free to reach out to me on social media. I am a really firm believer in mentors and mentees. And so if anyone needs a mentor, I am more than willing and more than happy to help assist you in any way that I possibly can. Again, thank you so much for having me. I'm so proud of all you young women for even having the initiative to attend this, and then for being in this world that's not exactly friendliest to conservative women. I'm very grateful to have you guys in the fight with me, and I look forward to seeing one of you as president one day. Have a good one. Bye.